Okay, so we'll have 92 fourth graders coming into the gym. We have talked to them about when they come in the gym, they're going to be, hopefully in an orderly fashion, unpacking their instrument. And the goal is that students will come onto our stage, which is the gym floor basically, and find their spot. So I'll have name tags around, and they'll come to their spot to where they're supposed to stand in the orchestra. You will see me as a part of this. Obviously, Mrs. Wood will also be there, and we're very lucky to have a substitute helper that morning. Ann Geiler will be here as well to help us tune all of these students to kind of get us moving. You will see some students coming in sporadically because I will be traveling on one bus from Captain, and I'll be bringing the Captain students. Mariana Wood will be bringing the Glen Ridge students, and then she's going to need to get back on the bus and go pick up the Merrimack students, just so you have an idea of why students are coming in at various times. So like I said, they'll unpack, they'll come to their spots in the orchestra. We are working really hard to ask them to stay in rest position. So what rest position looks like for the violins and the viola is that they will be standing there, their instrument will be tucked underneath their arm, and then as we come by one-on-one, we'll tune them really quickly and ask them to go back into rest position. The cellos and basses will be hanging out just like this, and we're asking them to be silent during rest position. Rest position doesn't just have a stance that they're supposed to do, but it also has asking students to be silent during the process of it so we can tune as quickly as possible. And the reason I'm explaining this is one of the things that I'd like for you to watch. So once all of the students are tuned, we will then run through the concert songs as one large orchestra, and then once the rehearsal is over, students will leave their instruments on the floor at the high school, and they will go grab their coats and whatever they brought with them and head back to school. Just to kind of explain the passing system so that you have an understanding of what I'm going to be asking to look for. Every student has this book. It's our fourth grade performance book. And once they learn how to hold their instrument, hold their bow, etc., get the foundations down, then we start working through these songs. Each song builds from one song to the next. It introduces a challenging step up from one song to the next, so that there's something new that the students will have to learn as they progress through. So the very first song that we're going to learn, that I taught the students, is Mississippi River. You will see all of the students performing this song. When we go on stage to perform through, I'll show you exactly the prompts that I will be doing and for you to look for and to help me with today. But this is the piece that we will start with. And all of the students will play this. All of the students will play the next piece called Twinkle Twinkle. They'll play French folk song. All of the students will play Lightly Row. But then as we start to get to the last four songs, Go Tell Aunt Rhody, children's song, you might notice that students will start shadow bowing. And that is because the student hasn't quite comprehend what the rhythms are, what the song's supposed to be sounding like, how the song is supposed to be played. They haven't quite mastered that song just yet. So what we are asking students to do is when they shadow bow, they will practice just their bowing to prepare them on that song. It's just some more practice for the next concert. So just to have an idea of what our shadow bowing is. So my focus group, I thought the easiest way to do this, since I have so many students, and if you're sitting in the bleachers, I'm not quite sure how you would be able to see name tags, etc. So what I will ask for is if you could just watch the cellist. I think it is the best way to do this. They'll be sitting down in the chairs in the very front row. It's a great representation. All of these cellists will be a great representation of the entire orchestra, Glen Ridge, Captain, Merrimack. They all have differences and similarities that can represent the entire group. So that will be the focus group. And I think maybe the best way to kind of do it, there's 26 cellos. So if maybe we say that you're going to start from, if you're sitting in the audience and you're facing the cellos, if you start from the left to the right, then you can just say the first cellist, the fifth cellist, the 26th cellist did in shadow bow, or etc. I think that will be the easiest way for us to do it. I told you about the passing songs. So what to look for? Like I said, you will see students coming in, they'll be unpacking in the back of the auditorium, they'll come up, and I would like to see this from your viewpoint, this process, and hopefully maybe some way to even get it better. What I'm looking for is, like, did the students unpack their instruments correctly? Did they go right to their spot? Did it seem like a lot of students had questions from where their spot was? How can I get this process at the very beginning as smooth and efficient as possible? And then during the tuning process, did the students stay quiet? Did they stay in rest position like I talked about? And then while we're playing, these are some focus points that I would like to see from your viewpoint once again. So when I start a song, Mariana will be standing in the front with her violin, and then I will be at the piano, and she will put her instrument up as I play a chord on the piano. The students are to follow her as we do that. So my first question is, and as you're watching those cellists, did they go into playing position, which is they're in rest position, and then now it's time to go into playing position where they bring their bow on the string. Did they go into playing position as they heard the chord on the piano? Did students play right away on the cello section, or did they wait for the actual introduction of the piano? So that's one thing that needs to happen. They're sitting in rest position, the introduction happens, and then as soon as the introduction's over, they all know what the introduction is, they start playing together on time. So that's another thing I'd like to see from your viewpoint if that's happening. Cellos. The hardest thing for us is to make sure that we're using the correct bow direction. So, and you will see it, that all of their bows go on a down bow when they're supposed to, and all of their bows go on an up bow if they're supposed to. So a down bow for cellos is going to the right, and an up bow for cellos is going to the left. And if you see students bowing incorrectly, then that's something that we need to work on even more if you notice that. And I'd like that kind of viewpoint from you of that. Did they play together? Did you notice the student a little ahead? Like you could say number 5 in the cello section was slightly ahead of all of the other students. Did they freeze between the songs? So as the song is over and they're playing their piece, they're supposed to freeze. I go to the next song with the introduction, they wait, and then they play again. They don't actually go to rest position until the very end of the concert for 4th grade, and then that's when they go to rest position. So in between everything, they're supposed to freeze between the songs. So that's something I'd like to see. That's a struggle we've been having in class too. So I'd like your viewpoint on that as a whole group. Did you notice if kids were struggling on the song and continuing to play? That might be a signal that they're not going into the shadow bow position, which means they will set their bows underneath their strings to practice just the bowing. If you notice that, that would be a great kind of visual for me. Did they bow together? So at the very end of the concert, they go to rest position. Miss Wood will ask them to stand up, and then they will take a bow together. So I would like to know if they're bowing together as a full orchestra. And then in closing, did they follow the directions as they're supposed to leave from the high school? So that is my ITT today. I hope this makes sense. And I hope that you can give me some great insight as to what's happening, as I will be on the piano focused on kind of doing my thing. And it'll be great to have some extra eyes in this space. So once again, thank you so much for coming today. I appreciate it.